But we don't plan to surrender either, and we don't plan to pull out either, and we don't plan to let people influence us and pressure and force us to divide our nation.
Vietnam campaign, national events, good conduct, Army accommodation, and Purple Heart. And, you know, I was no hero. You know, we weren't over there to be heroes. We were there for peacekeepers, and, you know, you're accountable for your actions, you know. So it's, you're not murderers, you're not, you know, you're not going over there to kill people. You're over there trying, you know, you're like a police officer.
Yeah, if it came to the point.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It was reasonable means of force. Yes. And that was part of my job, instructing individuals your age coming in what you can do to stay alive. To
stay alive.
And how you've got to react, because when people are dying like that, you're accountable for those, you know, it's a heck of a responsibility.
It is. Big burden.
You're held accountable for it. You have a lot of people that went crazy over there and did horrific things, you know. It was crazy, my first tour over there, 66 and 67. It was 66 actually.
No, before, where were you stationed? Like what cities or what towns?
We went from Saigon, Cholan Bridge, on what they called TL1, which was actual 1st Engineers Battalion actually made a road. The second tour I was over there in 69 and at the end of 68, they had actually completed a asphalt road that went from An Lac all the way down to Saigon, which was about 75, 85 miles, which is almost the whole width of the country.
Yeah.
Because it's a very narrow strip along the coast.
Yeah.
And we lost so many people over there from landmines and just defensive actions, you know, from the insurgents that were operating in those areas and stuff. And well, they'd run into a village, raise havoc, take all the, you know, people that they could use and just desecrate the rest of them. It was, it's horrific. And until you really go through these situations, you don't really understand. Like these guys go to Iraq, you know, and there is a horrific loss of life, you know, not only in our military concepts, but the civil populace that we're in charge of, you know, because that was the whole thing. We were there as a peacekeeping ally force, helping the South Vietnamese government establish itself. Then it got to the point where they couldn't maintain security for their people that they had there. So it kept on escalating. And then 65, right after Kennedy was shot, Johnson committed 100,000 troops, and that's when the 1st Infantry Division went over there. And that was about 40,000 men just out of the 1st Infantry Division.
Do you have any memories of when you first landed into Vietnam?
The smell, the heat, and the humidity. So you were either muddy and wet and uncomfortable, or you were sweaty and dirty and gritty and uncomfortable. But you were never comfortable. They'd tie themselves up in a tree with a an old 30-06 rifle and sit up there with no scope and fire out 400 round or 400 meter, you know, up to 400 meters. They could actually get a good clean kill.
Yeah, clean.
And they'd be picking people off the tracks. I mean, you know, wow, you know, John's down. You know.
Why did you have any personal friends killed over there? Or?
27. I lost 27 of my friends over there.
27.
And 8 of them I watched. They bled to death, right with me.
Right with you.
And there's nothing you can do. When you're in contact and you got fire, you can't get a dust off. And that's what they call the helicopters to retrieve the wounded and stuff. That you just couldn't bring a crew into it.